He's one of the greatest storytellers and music experts in the country. Sibusiso Mashiloane is preparing for his performance at this year's Joy of Jazz. He received an award at the prestigious Humanities and Social Science Awards, and his latest body of work, Izibongo, speaks of how he appreciates the rich heritage as it pays homage to the power of gratitude. The project is inspired by the African tradition of reciting praise poetry, and Mesh joins us now this morning for more. Very good morning to Sibu Mesh. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning to you too.
Good to have you, man. Good to see you.
I'm happy to be here again.
Right. It's been a while. So happy to see you and have you back on the show. Let's talk about Izibongo. I know that Izibongo, is descriptive of, the kind of work that you do in terms of paying homage to your own tradition and just the story of home. Was that intentional for you? Yes.
Basically, it comes from home, Uguti. At some point, you have to give Izibongo. You have to give thanks, for the journey. If you remember very well, when we started, it was 2016 when I started with Amazolwandle. That was our previous conversation, and then every year from 2016 I've been releasing albums every year, and so Izibongo comes in as this gratitude that I've been learning from home, that at some point you must stop and give thanks for all the achievement that you have made, So from 2016 up to last year, I mean, every album that I've released about 7 albums already, and they've been well welcomed, and people loved it and people resonated with the music, as our sound of home. So when I give Izibongo, comes in as these musical nuances that says Siyabonga Bohuma Sikela for playing this sound that we resonated well with, knowing that most of the time even the sound itself has been played under unfavorable circumstances, but yet they played the sound of home, So Izibongo comes in there, and of course to thank Umdali, for the ability to do what one wishes to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I see you're also completing your PhD, and your area of focus is home, obviously. So would you say that, you want to be remembered as someone who, whose roots are deeply rooted in home?
Yes, in the sound of home.
And especially in your music.
Yeah, in the sound of home, because, I mean, this is the sound of home that I know, and I feel for most parts of the world, people are always deprived, the essence of being. We always want to infiltrate, how people should be, But I realized this when I was in the United States, when I was asked to play, and then I realized that what I was trying to play was American, but it was not African, in a sense that from where I was socialized, and then to me that was a wake-up call in 2006 that, hey, man, you gotta look home, you gotta look to sound home, because even people that are not with you, they would like to hear the wealth that you are socialized with. And we know in our country, man, we've got so much diversity and so much cultural wealth and traditional wealth in terms of music, So for me, yes, I would like to be remembered as a person who was passionate about, and not only passionate, but who really loved the sounds that socialized them in whatever space that they are. And for me, that is South African sounds, And when I talk about South African sounds, I talk about the socialization and what the sounds speak to, in terms of, and what they mean to our people, For example, we as Mangita, Makleze Kaya Gugita, we know what that brings in terms of spirit, So I want to be embracing those nuances in my musicking.
And someone who has embraced the nuances of home, we know that music is just a universal language. It doesn't matter what genre, but music is just music, and everybody can communicate through music. So what role does jazz music in particular play in your compositions?
Man. Jazz is just the most fundamental vehicle that I see the other musics, but I think jazz, just because of its nature, allows us to express ourselves in the most, I would say, authentic way. Because you just have to be in jazz. You forget about your surroundings, and I think that's the most, I would say, being of jazz, because once in jazz performance, once you start minding things, then that's no longer jazz, because it's all about improvisation and it's all about being yourself in the highest form that you can possibly be, using,
Sure.
of course, these instruments, you know. So jazz is just the primary vocabulary, hence Joy of Jazz makes sense.
It definitely does. I mean, I've never missed any edition of Joy of Jazz. And what should we expect from you this year, just briefly?
I'm bringing Babklale.
Ha!
Yeah.
Okay.
Babklale, yeah, on percussion, Sisonke Konti, on tenor saxophone, Kagiso Ramela is going to be on the alto, Spelelo Mazibugo on drums, Daliso Ndlanzi is going to be on bass, you know, so
An
it's going to
all-star
be...
lineup.
Hey man, I'm just so looking forward because I just want to press that first note and people must just align to that energy.
Of course, of course. I know that with Sibusiso Mash, you will bring the house down. All the best, man. Hope to see you at the Joy of Jazz.
Thank you. Hope to see you, everyone.
Great chatting to you. Thank you. Well, that is South African music expert, pianist and composer Sibusiso Mash Mashiloane talking to us about his latest project, Izibongo, and upcoming performance at this year's Standard Bank Joy of Jazz.